Hey friends, Dr. Christy here, and I want to talk to you about pain for a minute. Obviously, I'm a chiropractor, so many people come to me with musculoskeletal pain. They hurt their back, they hurt their neck, they come in with headaches. However, I just want to talk to you about what pain is really representing and what really happens to you every single time you have a pain and you take that Advil or you take an ibuprofen or Tylenol or even Tramadol or something like that for something really serious. First and foremost, pain is your body's way of communicating with you that something is wrong. Let me say that one more time. Your body communicates through symptoms, and I've said this before, but pain is one of your body's way of communicating with you that something is wrong. It's your check engine light in your body. And so if you are somebody who is so quick to medicate or take that Advil or something and medicate that pain away, you could be missing out on valuable information on what is trying to communicate with you. Let me explain this for a minute. So let's say, for instance, you fall down the stairs and you hurt your knee. Okay, and so you're kind of limping around for a little bit and your knee's killing you, but you say, I have too much stuff to do today. I cannot deal with this pain. I'm going to take 3 ibuprofen and get through it. Cool. Ibuprofen kicks in, the anti-inflammatory effects start to take place, blocks all those pain signals, and you can go out along with your day, no problems, no issues. And then the next morning you wake up after all that's worn off and your knee is swollen up like a balloon and you can't put any pressure on it whatsoever. That might be because you really hurt your knee more than you thought. And now that all those anti-inflammatory agents have worn off from the ibuprofen, now it's even worse because you didn't feel the pain. You didn't feel those body signals that your body was telling you, don't do this, please stop. You didn't feel any of that because you took the ibuprofen. And so now you may have engaged in certain activities or done certain motions that made the injury worse over time. So please consider that. And there is a time and a place for pain management in this kind of way. I just tend to lean more towards not taking these things, especially until you really know what's going on. Here's an example of where you would want to take something like this because you do know what's going on and it just is your body's way of helping yourself heal. Let's say you just had surgery. Okay, you know for a fact that you're going to have inflammation, you're going to have swelling, and you're not going to be like running any marathons while your knee heals from a knee replacement, for instance. Okay, so those are the kind of situations that you just need to be comfortable. You know what the trauma is. You know that it's going to take some time to heal and for your body to catch up and feel better. That's one of those times that I feel like it's quote unquote okay to take a pain medication because then you already have the acknowledgement and understanding of what's happening in your body, and you can basically have this conversation with your body and say, I hear you, I understand that you're in pain because of this, and I'm just trying to be comfortable right now and not necessarily shut you down, but we just need to get through this time until the natural healing takes place. So I hope that kind of makes sense. On one other piece of things, like I said, Advil, ibuprofen, Tylenol, all these NSAIDs, those non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, or sometimes even steroid inflammatory drugs, all these things that are pain relievers, they override your body's natural physiology, natural response to communicating with you, right? Like I said, this is an unnatural approach to things. Oftentimes, I will recommend something to patients called Arnica montana. This is a homeopathic remedy. I've mentioned this in past videos, but the homeopathy approach doesn't shut off your body's natural function or natural pain method of communicating with you. It starts the healing process from the ground up. So Arnica montana, for instance, is a flower, and if you ate that flower in its whole form in nature, you would probably experience things like pain, inflammation, and swelling. When you take it in its homeopathic form, homeopathy basically means it's been diluted many, many times. You take a drop of that flower and dilute it in, some water. Then you take a drop of that dilution and dilute it again. And then you take a drop of that dilution and dilute it again, and so on and so on and so on, literally 100 or more times. So when you take it in that diluted homeopathic form, the frequency and the energy of the product starts to help you heal from that pain, inflammation, and swelling from the ground up. So it's not suppressing inflammation and putting up a dam so that once it wears off, it all comes flooding back. It starts to help support your body in its healing of it so that at the end of the day, the pain, inflammation, and swelling has reduced, but not because you're suppressing it, but because your body's actually kicking up its own natural systems to support and clear it out on its own. So I hope that makes sense. That's one of the remedies I recommend for people a lot with pain, like a lot. This kind of came up for me. I'm just going to share a personal story really quick. My 10-year-old son hurt himself at the park yesterday, and he hurt his arm, and I had treated it. I did a couple of my, injury pattern clearing out treatments for him, and I gave him some arnica and all these things, and I said, you got to sleep on it now and see how it feels in the morning. Usually my son, when he gets hurt, he's better within a couple hours, and definitely if he sleeps on something the next day, he's 100% fine. This morning he woke up and was not 100% fine, so it wasn't more swollen, but when I pushed in certain spots, it still really hurt him. I could see in his eyes certain pressure, certain movements were not good. So this was one of those scenarios I backed off, and I'm like, we need to get an x-ray. We need to do something on here just to be sure there's no fracture, nothing else that I can't pick up on. And so my husband was communicating with me about this and trying to ask me, okay, this is how we are going to choose to support him on this. If there is a fracture, what are we doing? If there's not, what are we doing? To me, it's still always dependent on the person. My kid's really tough. I don't believe unless they had to, unless there was a dislocation and unless they had to physically put him through some pain in order to get it back together, so to speak, I think he could handle whatever pain he had to be put through to put his arm on the x-ray machine or do this or that. And if there's other healing that needs to occur, there's many other homeopathic remedies that I would recommend for ligament healing, for bone healing and trauma and things of that nature. So just my 2 cents on pain and healing and injuries and what that looks like in my office and from a natural holistic perspective. If you have specific questions, please drop them below. This is a huge topic and it's one near and dear to my heart, and it's super important because pain is a huge stressor to your adrenal glands, and I've talked about adrenals ad nauseum in past videos. So it is important that our bodies are not in pain so that we can live our best, healthiest life. So again, hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you soon.